to my channel. I am so excited to be sharing my Christmas Decorate With Me Part 1 today. Today we are going to be decorating the living room, and I hope that I give you a bunch of inspiration and fun ideas to decorate your home for this upcoming holiday season. I have a bunch of DIYs and things like that. There are also going to be a bunch of videos that I reference in this video because I made a bunch of the things that you will see here. So I will be sure to link those down below, and I'll also try to link as many of the home decor pieces as I possibly can in that description. If you see one is missing, make sure that you leave me a comment down below and I'll try to get back to you. But there's just so many fun ideas in this living room, so many high-end, affordable looking decor pieces and just different ways to style it. But like I said, this is just part 1, and next week part 2 is going to be coming out. We're doing the living room minus the tree. We get a real tree every single year, and we actually currently have not gotten it yet, so we're going to be doing that next week, in addition to the kitchen, dining room, bathrooms, as well as my bedroom. So we're going to be doing a bunch more decorating, so make sure that you subscribe down below. Make sure you also give this video a thumbs up if you like Christmas decorating and getting ideas for the holiday season for decorating your home and making it super cozy. But I believe that is everything. We are going to go ahead and start decorating. So here is our starting point for today's video. I cleared out all the fall decor, and now we're going to get in and try to get everything tidied up. But I love starting with a blank slate because it really helps you to visualize things in a different way, and it helps you to not decorate the same way every single time, which is something that I love to do. I love to always come up with creative ideas and just try to think outside of the box, and having a clear, clean space definitely helps me to do so. So like I said, we are going to be cleaning a little bit. Since I have everything cleared out, it just made sense to use my multi-surface spray and wipe off all the surfaces and get everything nice and clean before we get out our Christmas decor. Now that our space is nice and clean, we're going to start our first DIY project for this living room space. And I'm sure you guys have seen this all over the internet. They are dried orange slices, and they're super easy to make. I recommend doing them first because it actually took me quite a while to do, but I'm starting with just a few large oranges and cutting them into thin slices. This is the first time I've done it, so next time I'm going to go a little bit thinner on some of them just because it did take a lot longer for them to dry out. And we're simply just going to place them on a sheet tray with some parchment paper, lay it all out in a single layer, and that's pretty much it. We're going to pop them in the oven, I believe at 250 for about an hour, but it did take me quite a bit longer than an hour. It probably took me close to 2 hours to get the desired color that I wanted and to get everything dry out. I really wanted everything to be dry so we didn't have to deal with mold or anything. I don't plan on reusing these next year, but I just wanted to make sure that they were properly dried, so that took a while, but I'll show you guys how they turned out. I think they turned out really cute. Next, we're gonna head outside for some more natural decor pieces. I went to this old tree, and actually I'm not quite sure if it's old, but it's very sparse in our backyard. It's just a pine tree, and my dad said I was free to cut as many clippings as I wanted from it. So that's exactly what we're doing. I'm getting a few different sizes, some really big for vases, others small for other little things as bowl filler. So I just have a big variety here. And I read on the internet that if you spray foliage or just pine branches in general with hairspray, it does help to preserve them. It helps to keep them from falling, all the needles making a mess, and it just helps them keep their integrity. So I'll let you know how this turns out, but I basically just went outside, sprayed them thoroughly on both sides, let them dry a bit, and they were ready to go. Now that we have all of our materials, we are ready to decorate. I love to start with this white cabinet in our living room. I feel like it's just a really fun focal point, and I have a lot of fun trying to mix up how I decorate it. If you guys saw my fall clean and decorate with me, I changed things up quite a bit. So I'm starting with this window that we got from Hobby Lobby. I love the metal in it, and I also love how it has wood around it, and I'm using this rustic wreath that I also got from Hobby Lobby. I love the naturalistic sort of look of it. I like how it's sort of frosted, but it also has some pine cones in there. And basically I'm putting the wreath face down as well as the window on top and sort of centering it how I want it to lay once it's hanging on the wall. And now I'm just going to simply be attaching it to the window. I'm just using some twine to kind of go underneath that brown part and wrap it around the framework and just tie it in a knot in 4 different sections just to make sure that it's nice and secure and I don't need to worry about it falling off. And that's another thing to consider. You don't necessarily need a window if you have a fun statement piece or a barn door. Putting a wreath on it I feel like is such a wonderful way to bring in the holiday season in a subtle way, but also very classic, and it just looks so pretty. Secured, we are going to add a little touch of red. I got this frayed sort of velvet looking ribbon from Hobby Lobby. I absolutely love it. If you're new to my channel, I do love neutral decor, but for Christmas I love a very deep pop of burgundy and reds just because it doesn't feel like the holidays without a little pop of red. So I'm just putting the ribbon around the wreath and tying a really rustic loose bow, and I really love how this turned out. It's just so elegant and it just brings that beautiful pop of burgundy to make it feel not just like winter but Christmas season. And now we're just going to be adding a bit of artwork to one side of that window. I have a big piece of landscape art that I did, and then I'm switching out this print in the frame. I got this frame from Goodwill. That's a great place to find antique looking items, and I just put this little print of trees in it that I painted with some leftover paper and put it inside. That's such an easy way to elevate your space as well, using the same frame and just switching out the artwork. If you don't like to paint or that's just not quite what you're good at, you could always look for some cheap options on Etsy. They have a lot of different things to choose from. And now to balance out the height on the other side of the window, we're going to be adding in this rustic vase that I DIY'd. I'll have that video linked down below if you'd like to try it for yourself. Really easy to DIY and I love the way it looks. And then I have a bunch of florals. Now for this floral arrangement, I wanted it to be really simple and sort of mimic the wreath in a different way. So I have some stems. I believe they're all from Hobby Lobby. A lot of them are very rustic, sort of a pine look with that pop of red with the frosted cranberry stem. And I have quite a few different pieces of greenery. I also ended up adding one of our pine branches just because I thought it added a nice earthy touch, and I just love the layered greens. And then to finish off the left side, we're adding in a candlestick as well as this little DIY lantern. Again, I did this in a video last year and I just love how cute and whimsical it is for the holidays. And then I'm adding a lantern that I thrifted from Goodwill and repainted, as well as a Target candle. And I just love how this space turned out. It's super cozy and elegant looking. I love how the heights offset each other with the high point in the middle. They all just complement each other so well. I love the mix of the black and the gold. It just is so beautiful and timeless and classic looking, and it's honestly my favorite part of the whole room. The next area to decorate is this little green cabinet in the corner of our living room. I love to use this as a focal point for our nativity scene. Now this nativity scene is super old. I'm pretty sure we've had this since my parents got married over 20 years ago, so I will not be able to link it for you. With that being said, if you see any decor pieces that you like in this video, check the description, and if you don't see it, leave me a comment below. But I love how neutral this nativity scene is, and I also love all of the characters and animals that it comes with. I feel like it really just sets the mood, and it's one of the first things you see. As you'll see later, we'll add in some fairy lights, and it's just such a wonderful focal point, and it reminds me of the reason for the season and why we decorate, and I feel like it's just super fun to incorporate that and just remember why we get to celebrate this wonderful time of year. holiday season so fun is just how cozy and inviting all the decorating is. So I thought right now would be a good time to add in some different textures and other materials to make the room seem super cozy and soft and inviting. So I'm starting on the corner of the couch and just adding in a white blanket. I have this pillow from Target. I love the knitted texture of it and I love the little braided detail. And then I'm adding a green lumbar pillow that I made, and it's just really cute and adds in that little pop of Christmas. Speaking of pops of Christmas, we're adding in a red pillow. It is quite bright for my liking, so I decided to put it in the back and put another knitted pillow in front of it. And then for the chairs across the room, I did 2 matching pillows that have this sort of muted red and white stripe going vertically on it, and I think it just fills those chairs really nicely. Now let's turn our attention to the end table and also the floating shelves that are right next to our couch. I have a hard time styling shelves and end tables, but I have a few ideas that I think worked really well. So I'm starting with these Magnolia Journal magazines. I tried to choose some that had neutral colors, and also that top one had that little pop of red. I just thought that it worked really nicely. I always like to do this for the different seasons, and it's also an inexpensive way to do it. I reuse the magazines all year round for a bunch of different seasons, and they just look so nice, and it also is very practical for guests. So I layered those in with some coasters as well as this DIY aged vase, and now I'm adding in a few greenery stems. I'm using the actual real stems from the pine tree first, and then I'll be layering in some other florals that I had. I also had some pine cones that I gathered from outside that I'm going to be putting in it, just to sort of give that nice pine sort of wreath look again in a different way. And then I had these stems. It's a very dark burgundy sort of cranberry stem again, and then one that has a few leaves on it. And I feel like this is just very woodsy. It looks very gathered and classic, and I love how it sort of frames that out. And then to the bottom, it's super simple. I'm adding in a few neutral books that I thrifted, and then this Countdown to Christmas that I got from Hobby Lobby last year. I love how simple this is. I always love to have a floral arrangement on there, but something a little bit smaller to not distract from the white cabinet going on behind the couch, with something super practical, magazines to look at, coasters to use, things like that. And now we're going on to the open shelves. First, I am replacing this picture with a picture of Ronnie, our dog, in the snow last year. That way I can have it up for the Christmas season as well as winter. And now we're going to be adding in our trees that we made last week. I will link that video down below. I love them. They're a dupe for the rustic trees from the Threshold line with Studio McGee. And I stacked a couple books there, and we're going to be adding a little dough bowl on top. So this is how our oranges turned out. This is one of the materials we're going to be using to fill the dough bowl with. We also have some faux berries, our pine branches, as well as some pine cones for a very, again, gathered, organic, natural feel. And I think all these colors pair super well together to complement these vessels. So I have this really rustic dough bowl. I got this off of a small shop on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm layering first in some pine branches as our sort of bed, and then we're going to just be adding all the other elements on top. I found that I liked pairing the orange slices in twos and sort of fanning them out, and then sprinkling in the berries for a little pop of red. And I feel like this just looks so pretty. Anyone can do it. I was surprised at how easy it was just to arrange this. You can really just play around with it. You can fill any sort of vessel, a really big dough bowl, a small dough bowl, and it just looks so pretty stacked on these books, and I love the way it finishes it off. To the top shelf, I'm adding this little winter box. I actually made this in my ceramics class. If you don't know, I am a college student and I have a ceramics class that I made that in. I'm also adding in a frame, a Hobby Lobby tree, and then a mini amber glass vase with a few florals in it. And I love how this turned out. I like to keep them super simple, but I wanted that pop of red and the sort of feeling of bringing the outdoors in. Just super simple and complements the rest of the room. Pulls in all of those elements, and it just goes with everything so beautifully. decided to work on our media center. I usually keep this area somewhat the same every time I style it, but this year I wanted to make it a little bit different. So first I started with a little galvanized bucket and added in a little Hobby Lobby flocked tree from last year, added in a frame, and now we're adding in another little bowl. I got this glass dish from Goodwill. You guys saw that in a vlog that I did, I think back in October, and I actually painted it to look like it was a wooden dough bowl, and I used all the same techniques. Started with the pine branches, added pine cones, the pops of red, and layered in the oranges. And I just love how the different tones of the oranges are really natural and they all differ from one another. You may see that some of them are a little bit burned, but I actually kind of like that look. It brought in a little bit of depth and just made it look that much more natural. And again, I just love how all these colors complement each other. I don't know what it is. It's just such a pleasing aesthetic little bowl to look at. It's just a very nice combination of things that adds the perfect touch to this media center and that pop of color. And then on the other side of the media center, I'm using a couple milk bottles that I got from a flea market and used some of those cranberry stems. I also added in another picture frame, and I actually had a couple that I sort of layered together and sort of played with the vertical and horizontal look of them. I love how this turned out. Again, it's super similar to how I usually do it. It's usually the fishbowl in the middle and different styled pieces on either side, but I like how we changed it up a little bit this year. Now to the left of our media center is where we will hang our stockings. You may notice that we do not have a fireplace, therefore we do not have a mantle to hang stockings. So we've done this for years. We have this little stand that has these fun sort of vintage looking bells with red bows, and you just sort of put one end through, you put the stockings on, you put the end on, you adjust your stockings, and you're set to go. And you may be wondering where these stockings came from. My aunt actually handmade these, and they all have different characters on them with our names, so these are super special, and we've had them in our family for pretty much as long as I can remember. And now we're starting to wrap up our decorating. I need to finish off this little area with the end table in the middle of the two chairs. I just want to add a couple things to anchor the space and make it very cozy. So I'm adding in this stuffed tree that we actually made last year in a DIY video, and then this green candle. I love the sort of glass work on the outside. It's very detailed and it looks very Christmassy and cozy. And since the pillows on the chairs were red, I wanted to add a little pop of green, and this just makes the space super cozy and it makes it a very nice place to sit down and read a book, cuddle up with a blanket, and just enjoy all the other decorations. And lastly, to finish off the room, we have this rocking chair that came from my grandma, and we're going to be putting this vintage bear on there. We got this from our grandparents, I think last year or the year before, and it just has all those classic Christmas colors, and it's just really nostalgic because they always had them at their house for the holidays, and it just fits perfectly in that space. And that is it, you guys. That is how we turned this plain blank slate living room into a very cozy, classic and elegant space for the holiday season. I love the pops of red. I love just the classic look. I love how everything looks so natural. We brought the outdoors in and just made it a very inviting space with our textiles and our different textures. I just love how the space turned out and how everything just goes really well together, and it's also not too much. Everything just goes so well together. It's so simple, and I hope you guys found a lot of ideas for your own spaces. Let me know which part was your favorite, but I cannot get over how wonderfully this room turned out, and I cannot wait to enjoy it for the rest of the season. so happy with how this space turned out. I just love the balance of the different colors. It's not too much, but it's very organic and very high-end looking for the holidays. It's super cozy, and I just love how it all turned out, and I hope that you guys did as well. If you did, make sure that you give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments which part of the room was your favorite. I have so many. I think the white cabinet is at the top of my list with the window and the ribbon. It's just so pretty and sophisticated, and it just looks so elegant, and I love it. And make sure you're subscribed for part 2 next week. Again, we're doing the tree, bedroom, bathrooms, kitchen, stuff like that, so make sure you're subscribed. And I believe that is everything. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. You're having a good holiday season so far, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye!